In 2019, we had a bit of an epiphany.
We were working to the all hours, and you just think there's got to be more to life. There was just something missing. All right, so this is our home. Should we go have a look inside? Come on.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're meeting up with Amy and Dave, who are living full time in their Overlander truck.
They swapped the 9 to 5 for a better life, so stick around to see exactly how they make it work. And we hope that you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you want to see more content like this, then make sure you're subscribed. Back to it.
Hello, my name's Amy.
My name's Dave.
This is Indy, our dog, and we live in our Leyland DAF T244. We have done for the last 2 years, and this is it.
So back in 2019, we had a bit of an epiphany. We'd lived in London for, well, I've been in London for 15, you've been in there for?
About 5.
5.
Yeah.
And we were working for a tech company, food delivery company, and it all just got a bit much. We were working really late, and actually we found ourselves spending more time living out of London at the weekends when we could than being in. So we sort of took that as a bit of a hint, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a little T5 at the time, didn't
Yeah.
we? So we just tried to get everywhere, all around Europe, and visit friends, and yeah, it was kind of a ball ache actually coming back to London, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And so I think it was April 2019, we decided, let's do this thing. So we sat down and we saved as much as we possibly could.
I call it like our training for our now resourceful life.
Yeah, it was.
I think we were working to the all hours, you know. It was,
working to the bone.
like
You came home
8 to
crying
9,
sometimes.
Yeah,
and
constantly. And you just think there's more, there's got to be more to life. There was just something missing. Like, that's not what life should be. It's kind of like working God every single hour of the day. There's more to the world. So once we left London and we moved into our old van, and we travelled around in that old van, and then we kind of came back to England with no plan. And that's when we thought, right, we've got the opportunity to actually change our careers into what we want to do, instead of kind of working for tech and working long hours. When we did live in London, we learnt to paraglide. So when we kind of came back, I was asked by the school to become a paragliding instructor. So I turned my passion into a job. And because we lived in the van, the old van, we were able to do that because paragliding instructor doesn't really earn that much. So there was absolutely no way that we could have survived on a mortgage or rented. Or
not a lot of people actually drop what they're doing and pick something entirely different up. And when they do, it's tremendously difficult. And so us living this lifestyle gives us that chance to do that huge change. So we've got a 1991 Leyland DAF T244, it's ex-MOD. The whole ethos behind building it was a more domestic experience. I mean, you'll find out in a minute when we go and have a look, but things like full-size shower, somewhere to sit, a table, a decent-sized bed, you know, all of these sort of things.
We could fit everything in there we wanted to.
Yeah.
And we could get anywhere we wanted to.
Yeah. So at the top, we've got an aluminium roof rack. We've got a little deck up there. Maybe we'll have a cup of tea and a pasty up there later.
Normally it's our gin and tonic deck.
And then put a light array up there because the lights on these are atrocious. You can't see anything. You might as well have 2 little candles. Road Trip Industries makes all-terrain campers all the way up to 18 tons and more, but you can have a little 3.5 tonner. So what we make is super robust and it won't fall apart when you're hammering across dunes. So normally the cabs on these are pretty sparse. So what we ended up doing was stripping out the old seats, and we found a set of seats out of a Suzuki Alto. And then Indy Bone sits at the back. So the belly lockers, they're just a steel structure. I ended up building a box frame and then just cladding that. So it's just belly lockers just to chuck a load of stuff in. There's all sort of outside electrical outlets and things so we can plug anything we want to use outside. And that runs off of the inverter. And then in here, this is where we fill up. So we've got a little tap there, and that just goes straight up to 400 litres of water. So these steps, they're fantastic because they're like concertina steps. So they push up into almost an accordion sized unit, and then I just tie them up. It's great. So there is 1680 watts of solar up the top. The roof bars at the top there, so that's actually just some T-section aluminium. It's just to protect everything up there. So what we do have is a great big 5,000 watt inverter just in here, and then we've got two 230 amp hour lithium batteries to give us about 460 amp hours in total. It's a 24 volt, and then we've got a load of 24 volt and 12 volt circuits, and then we've got all the gubbins here. So we've got the monstrous MPPT, so that's for all of the solar up top, and then all the isolators, PV isolator, B2B Orion chargers, so when we're driving we're creating charge and charging the batteries as well. Road Trip Industries actually specialises in these Victron installs. They can be quite complicated and a bit overwhelming. So what we've done is we put together a kit. So if you're interested in stuff like this, we can install it. So at the back of the truck, I suppose we can start at the bottom really. We use an anti-torsion system. So normally what happens is as we're going off-road, the chassis does tend to flex quite a lot. So this is almost like the interface between the chassis and the box, so it allows that flex to happen and doesn't destroy the box at the same time. And then we've got some storage lockers, so it's just some tools and things and spares and bits and bobs at the back. Over here, this is where all our central heating is. So our boiler is actually just here. It's just a diesel preheater. So it heats all of our water, it heats all of our radiators. And then also there's a sump pump under here, so when we have a shower, it drops down from the shower into there, and then we can pump it out of there into the main tank. Sandboards, quite important actually, aren't they?
Yeah, which we've used a couple of times,
yeah.
thank God.
Yeah, we got stuck in the desert.
We wanted to get stuck just so we could use them.
Yeah. And then when you are reversing these things, they're a bit of a pain to see what's behind you. So we do have the camera.
All right, guys, we're back with another sponsor that we genuinely love, Wolfbox. So we've been using the Wolfbox G900 Pro mirror dash cam for a while now, and honestly, it's a game changer. Sophie's had one in her van for ages, and I just got this new van and I knew I needed one too.
And I really wish that I'd had mine sooner. Before the Wolfbox, in the same week, a motorbike and a car went into the back of my van, and with no dash cam, I had no footage and no evidence of what actually happened. If I'd have had the Wolfbox at the time, I would have had solid evidence with a 4K cam at the front and a 2.5K camera at the back. And now I don't have to worry about that happening again. And since it has collision detection and parking monitoring, it's got me covered even when I'm not in the van. Just total peace of mind.
For me, the biggest win is how it helps with reversing. It's not just the dash cam, it's a reversing assistant too. My van's big and parking can be tricky, but with a 12-inch screen and a clear reversing camera, Sophie doesn't have to guide me back anymore.
Plus, it looks sleek and the screen quality is so good that it's super useful as a rear view mirror.
So if you want to upgrade your vehicle's safety and make driving way easier, check out the Wolfbox G900 Pro. The link will be in the description below. We both love ours and we can definitely recommend it. So thanks to Wolfbox for sponsoring this video. Back to it.
And then spare diesel. So we actually have a 200 litre fuel tank, but we still carry spare on us, just in case. Then here we've got a little boom with a mobile antenna on it. So we get really good internet now over 4 or 5G. And then finally on the back, all our spare parts. So we normally carry things like spare clutch with us, anything that's going to sort of stop you in your tracks. So this is the diesel tank for all our heating, and that will last us
2 weeks?
Yeah.
In like the middle of the winter when it's like
2
0
weeks.
degrees, and that's
Yeah.
on constantly.
And then more sand ladders, just in case we get even more stuck than we did before, and that we need 4 of them this time. The little hole fitting there on the side is actually for the compost toilet. What I've done is I've sort of put a rigging together, so there's a little fan that sort of drags all of the air out of the toilet and then just chucks it out up there. So yeah, we carry 400 litres of water and there's 1600 watts of solar on top. So generally speaking, we never need to sort of plug into the grid.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to go off into the desert for weeks on end. And you can only do that if you're set for off-grid.
Yeah.
All right, so this is our home. Should we go have a look inside? Come on. As you can see, it's a bit different inside as it is outside. It's incredibly spacious. We've designed it so it's all kind of one room, so it does look as big as possible. We've got a number of radiators throughout the van. The first one is kind of here, so yeah, we can put the kind of boots and wet shoes, and that can kind of keep everything dry.
So these radiators actually work off of the small hydronic heater that I showed you in the back. And then there's other little ones just placed around underneath the table. So when you're sat there, you get warm legs. And then there's a nice big towel radiator in the wet room as well.
As we kind of come in here to the kitchen space, in our old van, the work surface I had to prep the food was probably about this big. So that's something I really wanted to focus on. Over here, we've got lots of cupboards, including the bullshit drawer. Everyone has a bullshit drawer. This kitchen is actually probably bigger than my flat that I used to live in London. We've cooked everything in here. We've got 2 hobs, we've got an induction hob, we've got a kind of old whistle kettle, and then a huge kind of big sink. We've got like a little bookshelf up here and more kind of cupboards under the sink. This is the cupboard that everyone has and no one wants to really look inside it. In here we've got our kind of cutlery drawer. Down here we've got our Ninja oven. We used to have an electric oven here, which was just rubbish. So we switched to an air fryer, which is fantastic because it means that you can cook everything in half the time and actually use half the amount of power. So we are obsessed with our air fryer, and actually more and more people in vans now are getting air fryers. They just complement vans really well, don't they? With actually everything you need. You can cook absolutely everything in there. Down here we've got, we call this the magic drawer.
Oh, is it the magic drawer, babe?
So this is where all Indy's stuff is. And then coming through, we've got our fridge, which is kind of pretty standard. Here is our pantry. The pantry is really useful because you're using all of this space as well. And I think that actually kind of having this built in makes this kitchen look a lot more kind of together and a lot more like a home experience. And then kind of sections it off, even though we are kind of living essentially in one big space. And coming around here, we've got our huge seating area. This was really important to us, having somewhere to sit and talk and have dinner together. Like, that is the ultimate, especially with this kind of view. If you were to want to lounge, you can just kind of pull these out. So we've made these to extendable seating, so you can kind of extend your legs out, and that kind of makes it nice and comfy. Down here is our humongous drawer with all our tins and everything. That's really important to keep all your heavy stuff down low.
We wanted it so when you were sat here, you weren't disturbed. You weren't having, sorry, I just need to get something underneath you. And also the other thing is having really deep storage. It's great having deep storage, but if you've got to move things to get to something at the back, you're just never going to go to the thing at the back. So the likes of the pantry and the drawer means that you can pull the whole thing and you can just see it. And there's none of this like having to carve things out to get to anything. So it makes the storage much more practical.
And then under here, these were kind of created around the water tanks, weren't they? So we've got 210 litres of water under this one, 210 litres of water under this one. Up here we've got more storage, this is the closed storage. And then we've got 2 max air fans, one above the bed and one here, which is brilliant because it means that we can kind of draw air kind of from one side of the van up to the other. And then we've got some plugs, we've got USBs, we've got a couple more plugs here. We're all about mood lighting, aren't we? So we've got little light switches and kind of lights everywhere. You don't really want to just light up all of the space, you want to light up down kind of different parts of it. So these are all kind of touch lights, and they are also kind of dimmer ones. So. And then we've got some more closed storage here, which are just kind of easy rails. Under here, this is Indy Bones' little sanctuary. This is her bed. And then under Indy's bed, we've got loads more storage as well. So kind of a huge compartment. We chose to have a king size bed in here. We love our mornings, don't we? And just kind of just lazing in bed. You've got that lovely window there as well. It's just a really nice space to chill and relax in the morning. At the back there, Dave built me my reading light. We do have a TV there. We are sometimes a sucker for a film late at night. This is our huge bathroom. In our old van, we had quite a small shower. So we wanted to prioritise that this time, as well as having a compost toilet instead of a cassette toilet. Compost toilet is absolutely life-changing, especially when you're going off-road or off-grid. Big shower. This is the kind of like lovely tambour door, so you can close that in and it's just a complete wet room. And then at the back, if we come through, we've got our towel rail. So this is kind of part of the chlorifier, so all the water gets heated up and then goes into all of these radiators and this. So we've got loads of opportunities to try and dry our clothes, which everyone can appreciate is quite hard to do in the English winter. Back behind here are storage where you know your shampoos and everything that you would normally have in a bathroom. Behind here This is the big chlorifier, so where it kind of heats all of our water. So it's a really, really nice shower. We've got really good water pressure.
So this is a bit like a control centre really. This has been a massive evolution. So there's portions on this that no longer work, and there's bits that have been added, etc. So we've got the good old-fashioned Victron screen. These are brilliant, these things, because it just means you can just get a really great overview of what's going on with your system. And then we've also got a Nest. Just set it 18.5, and there you go, it's done. And then I can dial into that. So we have a router in the truck as well connected. So there's 24-hour mobile connectivity. So I can dial into this, and I can dial into the Nest as well. If we've been out for the evening and we're coming home, we can just set the heating on before we get home, so we get in the trucks warm. And then we've got a few little switches up here. So there's obviously a light for when you're trying to make yourself look pretty in the mirror.
I really feel like we've kind of got it all in this compared to like our old van where everything was a little bit of a compromise. You know, you've squeezed in all of the space and you've got minimal storage, and you know, you haven't got big benches. And now I actually feel like we have got everything that we need in order just to kind of like live a normal life, really.
Yeah, I couldn't moan. Love it. It's great.
I think it forces you to kind of live a bit more of a simple life and to encourage you to go outside. I think that's my favourite thing. So, you know, when you're in a house, it's so easy to just slump in front of the TV and then you're kind of scrolling on your phone and you're flicking through all the channels. And here you don't actually have that opportunity, do you? So it forces you to kind of sit down at the table and have a conversation with each other and cook. And then you go, okay, well, I'm bored of this one space that we live in. Let's go outside. Let's go walking instead. So you actually end up just, I don't know, I'd say like living life a little bit more and not just wasting time on like TV and screens.
If you wanted to try and achieve this, it's just stick at it. And there'll be days when you just don't want to do it.
But also I think it's your like skills as well. Like you're basically an electrician, a plumber, a fabricator,
you've got to wear all the
carpenter. You know, you kind of need all of that skill set in order to build something like this.
YouTube.
So, yeah, YouTube.
YouTube University. YouTube University. I mean, I could set a welder up beforehand, but I didn't really know how to weld. So, you know, I just went on YouTube and did a few welds and hit it with a hammer, and it was all right. It didn't fall apart. And so, you know, then I sort of put that to good use, and it hasn't fallen apart yet. So we're doing all right. This is the project for the immediate future. So what this allows us to do is live a more, when I say sustainable, I don't mean as in from an ecology perspective, but sustainable as in just comfort. And living a van's hard, especially in the winter. You know, you've got a great big door opening, you haven't really got a lot of space, your payload's pretty poor. Whereas when we're living in the truck, it's just like a house. So for the immediate, it means that we can continue to do what we're doing, and save a little bit of cash to try and move on to the next project, which is ultimately to build a house, really. I haven't got a clue how to do it, but I'm sure YouTube will show me.
YouTube will help, yeah. I always think that there's different phases in life. We've been through the kind of living in a house phase in London, and then we've done the whole kind of living in a craft or a van, and now we've lived in an overlander. As we always say, we've had a bit more of a domesticated experience in a van. Yeah. And yeah, next bit has got to be kind of just building a house. God knows where the next phase after that is, but we'll see. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the truck. You can find us at Road Trip Industries on Instagram, same on Facebook, and roadtripindustries.com. Thank you so much for watching.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in there, and a big thanks to Amy and Dave for sharing the story with us and showing us around.
Make sure to follow them on the socials. All the links will be down below in the description. And we thought that this was an epic build, so cool inside. So let us know what you think too in the comments below. And if you like the video and you want to see more content like this, then make sure you're subscribed. See you in the next one.